A very good evening to you and welcome to Newswatch on this 26th day of June 2023. Now, tomorrow, that is on Tuesday, Azimio la Umoja Coalition will hold a major rally at the Kamukunji grounds. This follows the passage of the Finance Bill 2023 last week, which was today signed into law by President William Ruto. The rally, according to Azimio, will be a consultation forum with Kenyans, where they will announce the next course of action. Now, tonight on the Dialogue KE, I'll be joined in studio by Eric Mukono, an economist and a political analyst, to dissect the whole matter. Are we seeing a resumption of the Azimio demonstrations? You can send in your views at Hope TV Kenya on Facebook and at Hope TV_KE on Twitter. The hashtag to use is the Dialogue KE. My name is Kennedy Kimani and Boniface Muriithi will be assisting with the sign language interpretation. Now, President William Ruto has today officially signed the Finance Bill 2023 into law, following its approval by members of Parliament last week. The bill was passed after at least 184 MPs supported the bill, whereas 88 of them opposed it. The act, which becomes effective from the 1st of July, means that Kenyans will have to dig deeper into their pockets to fund Ruto's inaugural budget as the head of state. President Ruto also approved the Supplementary Appropriations Bill 2023, warranting the additional spending by the national government of 22.9 billion shillings from the Consolidated Fund. At the same time, President William Ruto also made proposals for the National Hospital Insurance Fund (NHIF) to enhance equity in payment. In the proposals, Kenyans will be compelled to pay 2.75% of their gross salary towards the scheme. Unemployed Kenyans will also be forced to part with 1,000 shillings every month in health coverage in a movement to raise funds to achieve universal health coverage. Now, Siaya Deputy Governor William Oduol has survived impeachment. This is after 27 senators voted to save Oduol against 16 of their colleagues. An 11-member Senate Special Committee had been appointed to probe the impeachment raised by Siaya County Assembly MCAs against Oduol, which recommended the removal of the Deputy Governor on 2 charges, which are gross violation of the Constitution and other laws and abuse of office and gross misconduct. Oduol has been at loggerheads with his boss, Governor James Orengo, of alleged mismanagement of the county, and was also expelled from the ODM party over claims that he no longer subscribes to the aspirations of the party.
These are the results of your division. Ayes 16, Noes 27, abstention 0. So the nays have it. The net effect of these votes is that pursuant to Article 181 of the Constitution, Section 33(8) of the County Government Act, and Standing Order 87 of the Senate Standing Orders, the Senate has failed to remove from office by impeachment Honorable William Oduol, the Deputy Governor of Siaya County, and that the Deputy Governor accordingly continues to hold office.
Away from that, and 4 out of the 7 members appointed by President William Ruto to recruit the next Director of Public Prosecutions have been sworn into office. The 4, who include Mary Kimone, Shadrach Mose, Richard Obwacha and Francis Atwoli, took oath of office at a ceremony presided over by the chairperson of the Public Service Commissioner, Ambassador Anthony Mushiri. The other 3 members, Mary Maungu, Roslyn Odede, and Twali Mbarak, who were absent during the swearing-in ceremony, will take their oath of office in the course of the week. And as our very own Alice Diana reports, the selection panel is expected to forward to the President names of the nominees within 14 days.
The process of searching for the next Director of Public Prosecutions (DPP) to replace Nuruddin Haji has now begun after the inauguration of the selection panel for recruitment of nominees. The recruitment follows the exit of Haji, who left the position to become the new Director General of the National Intelligence Service (NIS). 4 members of the selection panel took their oath of office on Monday. They include Mary Kimone, a nominee from the Office of the President, Shadrach J. Mose, nominee from the Office of the Attorney General, Richard Onsogo, a representative from the Law Society of Kenya, and Francis Atwoli from the Central Organization of Trade Union COTU. The oaths were administered by Director of Legal Services at PSC, Jacqueline Manani.
I, Richard Onsongo Bush Obuocha, having been appointed as a member of the selection panel
for the selection of nominees for appointment as the Director of Public Prosecutions,
do here swear solemnly that affirm that I will diligently and professionally discharge the responsibilities and functions assigned to me.
that I will not directly or indirectly reveal any matter in relation to the discharge of such a responsibility to unauthorized persons or otherwise than in the course of my duty, except as may be required by the law.
According to the chairperson of the Public Service Commission PSC, Ambassador Anthony Mushiri, the remaining 3, Mary Adhiambo Maungu from the Ministry of Public Service, Roslyn Odede from the Kenya National Commission of Human Rights, and Twalib Mbarak from Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, who were absent, will be sworn in the course of this week.
The members who are not here this morning, the 3 members will be sworn in the course of this week to take up their seats in the selection panel. The Public Service Commission will give all the support that is necessary in providing the secretariat and all the logistics that come with that job.
PSC Chair has urged the selection panel to undertake their assignment with dedication, zeal and integrity while observing all the applicable legal requirements.
Kenyans do expect nothing short of a process that is open, transparent, accountable, lawful and fair. That will provide a Director of Public Prosecution who has a high degree of integrity, is independent, is accountable to the Kenyan people, will act fairly in the discharge of his or her constitutional and legal mandate, upholds and preserves the public trust and confidence bestowed on him or her.
The selection panel is expected to, within 7 days of convening, advertise in at least 2 daily newspapers invitation for applications from persons who qualify for nomination and appointment for the position of the director. The panel shall then forward to the President the names of the nominees within 14 days after undertaking the recruitment process. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions is mandated with undertaking the prosecution of criminal matters and also determines which charges should be preferred in a criminal case, among other duties.
So help me God.
Alice Diana, Hope TV Newswatch.
Thank you so much, Alice, for that report. Students at the Technical University of Mombasa have engaged police officers in running battles as they protested the move by the institution's administration to increase fees by 6,000 shillings. The irate students also set ablaze the student center, leading to massive loss of property. They also complained of missing marks and the alleged killing of their colleague by police. The university has been closed indefinitely. Now, President William Ruto has challenged the Kenya Health Human Resource Advisory Council to resolve issues affecting health professionals in the country. Speaking today at State House, Nairobi, during the inauguration of the council, the head of state said the council, whose mandate is to review policy and establish norms and standards for health workers, should ensure health professionals are happy and productive. The council will be chaired by Dr. Francis Wafula, a lecturer at Strathmore University.
We were extremely careful in selection of the council because of the issues that we have had around the health workforce. The chair, Your Excellency, Professor Frank Wafula, is a health system strengthening expert who currently serves as a lecturer at University of Strathmore. Many doctors and other health workers have taken paid study leave to undertake postgraduate and specialist training in the national government training, teaching and referral hospitals where they render services. Your Excellency, the national government pays their tuition fees, but not their monthly salaries. This has left county governments with staff shortages that are affecting service delivery since they do not have additional funds to replace these healthcare workers.
I hold the firm view that the counties have done very well in addressing the challenge of health provision, and I intend to work with the counties so that we can better deliver health services to the people of Kenya. While the national government is paying for the training or the further training of doctors and the other health professionals, their salaries are paid by the counties. We undertook that we were going to be honest brokers. We are going to work with health professionals so that we can manage the issues raised by the counties, which are legitimate county governments, and the issues which are raised by our health professionals, which are equally legitimate.
Now, Homa Bay County has witnessed the groundbreaking of Phase 1 of the Kakoro Sports Campus in Dhiwa. Making the announcement, County Governor Gladys Wanga said Phase 1 of the massive International Sports Academy will cost $1 million. The academy will have a primary and secondary school, as well as a community water tower, with the Phase 1 expected to be completed in January 2024. The groundbreaking of the Kakoro Sports Campus, located in Homa Bay, is considered momentous as the county is the home of Gor Mahia Soccer Club, which clinched the FKF Premier League title on Sunday.
Within 2 months, we will have football fields here where you are sitting right now. We will have our classrooms, our dormitories. We will open our first phase in January 2024. So this will be in 6 months' time. Only with the support of the county government, this is possible.
My brother Lucas, who is the investor, when you first came to our offices with our brother Fred Arocho, you came and said whether it was possible for you to find any appropriate land in Homa Bay where you could set up an international sports academy. It looked like a dream from far. Because you know, sometimes many people have come and they have said they are investors, and many times they just disappear and there is no investment. It looked like a dream, but today it is a dream come true. The dream has come true because we have a contractor on site, yourself, you are here, and we are on the path that in the next 6 months, you have told me, we will be celebrating Christmas here with an academy that has football fields, that has classrooms, that has everything moving forward. We thank you for having faith in Homa Bay.
Crossing borders now, and 14 civilians have been killed in Wongoton, Sudan's capital Khartoum, as rival forces are locked in a battle over control of the Khartoum police headquarters. According to human activists organizing rescue operations and evacuating, 217 others were wounded, including 72 in critical condition. The paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, which since mid-April has been fighting Sudan's regular army, announced on Sunday a victory in the battle for the police headquarters. While army forces loyal to Burhan swear to recapture the police headquarters, a video footage released by the RSF shows the paramilitaries have already seized huge amounts of arms and ammunition as fighting nationwide grinds on. Now with that, it's time for a quick breather here on Newswatch, but after the break, we have a big discussion on the dialogue KE. Stick around.
Hope TV is where you look and live, with an excellent selection of the best Christian programming consisting of local and international content, of inspirational stories, talk shows, Bible commentary, youth, health shows, children entertainment, contemporary gospel music, extended times of worship, live broadcast, news, movies, drama, Christian ministry programs, and so much more. Hope TV is another quality service from Christ is the Answer Ministries, with over 45% of authentic and credible local content every week. Hope TV is a sister station to Hope FM, Kenya's leading Christian radio station, with footprints across the country. Tune in to Hope TV, where you look and live. Every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Spotlight.
Do you feel like they are in a place where they can effect a Barack Obama moment?
When you hear the word of God and you hear Jesus is speaking.
Real talk on real issues.
You know, the Bible says faith without works is dead.
The truth of the gospel that will survive the time is not a health and wealth gospel.
When there is time to harmonize and bring one composite amendment.
With idealistic, thought-provoking guests.
So people come to be serviced, to be encouraged, to be empowered.
When the storm is over, you desire the closeness you have with God.
Hosted by Reverend Edward Furi.
Hope Media invites you to experience the ultimate worship encounter dubbed Uweponi Worship Experience Chapter 2. Mark your calendars for July 7, 2023 from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. at Sitam Valley Road. Prepare yourself for a night of heavenly melodies and powerful worship. Gracing the stage will be the renowned gospel music minister Dr. Ipiana from Tanzania and the sensational Peter Watako from Kenya. But here's the best part. Entry is absolutely free. That's right, it's open for anyone with a heart for worship. Can't make it in person? No worries. Tune in to Hope TV and Hope FM on Facebook and YouTube pages to join the soul-stirring celebration at Hope FM Live and Hope TV Kenya. Don't miss out on this divine encounter. #Experience Hope.
The Asian community in Kenya has been nationally recognized as the 44th tribe of the people of this great nation.
For me, God is real in Christianity. I talk to Him, He talks to me. I fail, He forgives me.
When I first read the first book of Genesis, it gave me an orderly sense of accounts of creation. Day 1 is what He does. Day 2, He creates this. Day 3.
Every third Thursday of the month, we bring you Asia Testify,
where we will be listening to life-transforming stories of Asian believers who have walked with the Lord. Only here on Hope TV. Look and live.
Because women talk more and they are not very strong physically, when they want to hurt their husbands or their children or anybody, they use the tongue.
Families under God.
How can we continue to live carelessly in ease?
Join Reverend Dr. Judy Mbugua as she imparts families through prayer, evangelism, and social transformation with the Word of God.
You know, God is not asking you to manage. He's asking you to be available.
Amen.
And He will make you able and capable.
Families under God, only on Hope TV. Every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Spotlight.
Do you feel like they are in a place where they can effect a Barack Obama moment?
When you hear the word of God and you hear Jesus is speaking.
Real talk on real issues.
You know, the Bible says faith without works is dead.
The truth of the gospel that will survive the time is not a health and wealth gospel.
When there is time to harmonize and bring one composite amendment.
With idealistic, thought-provoking guests.
So people come to be serviced, to be encouraged, to be empowered.
When the storm is over, you desire the closeness you have with God.
Hosted by Reverend Edward Furi.
Welcome back. Now, tomorrow, Azimio la Umoja coalition will hold a major rally at the Kamukunji grounds. Now, this follows the passage of the Finance Bill 2023 last week, which was today signed into law by President William Ruto. The rally, according to Azimio, will be a consultation forum with Kenyans where they will announce the next course of action. Now, in studio, I'm joined by Eric Mokono, a political analyst, to help us dissect the whole matter. Eric, welcome to the studio.
Thank you, Kennedy.
Now, last week you projected that the finance bill will pass. Actually, true to your words, the bill passed last week,
yes.
And today, President William Ruto assented, and it's now law. I mean, your reaction on that?
Kennedy, last week I told you that we are dealing with a set of parliamentarians that either do not know what they are doing, or probably if they know what they are doing, they do not really care for the real mwananchi or the common Kenyan. And clearly, last week we saw what happened. That they voted in a bill that is extremely oppressive. Now, let me just put it into perspective. During the campaigns trail, this government ran their campaigns on an agenda to lift Mama Mboga and the boda guys. And these are people who use the very basic commodity called fuel, okay? And the president, during the presidential debate, he said that we need to rethink the taxation on fuel, which was then at 8%. Fast forward, 1 year later, or about 11 months later, he sits down and thinks, I think my decision was foolish. We actually need to rethink this tax upwards from 8% to 16%. What this means that the cost of production of basic commodities goes up. The cost of manufacturing goes up. The cost of operations in our households goes up. So in an already overburdened Kenyan, who we call, who in this case, we can simply say punda amechoka, you know?
But you see, at the same time, as a nation, we've really been in debt. And you can see the president saying that you're not going to borrow more, you're going to actually get money from taxing people. I guess that's the route that the president is taking right now.
But how do you get money from taking away money from people? Who's going to get motivated? I am not even motivated to continue working, honestly, because if I am working for the government and we're getting to a point where we are now going to tell the government, now take our salaries, give us back the taxes. Because we're almost getting into a very bad place. We're getting into a very bad circle.
Okay. Let's shift gears from that. Away from the finance bill, the president today signed the finance bill 2023.
Yes.
And apart from that, we saw the president also saying that he's now proposing the NHIF bill proposal, whereby Kenyans will have to be taxed 2.75% of their gross salaries.
True.
I mean, we have not yet healed from the finance bill.
Yes.
There's this NHIF bill.
I can see, Ken, you're feeling it. Now that you say we have not healed it clearly. Now, Ken, 3 things happened today. The president signed into law the finance bill.
Correct.
And then above that, he says that apart from the taxes I have proposed or I have signed into law in this finance bill, I want to add you some additional contribution in terms of 2.75% from your gross salary. And as if that is not enough, he continues to threaten anyone who's going to protest against his decision. I mean, we are in a very interesting country that some of us will be going to Kamukonji tomorrow to protest against some of these decisions, then we are in a very bad position. But away from that, Ken, last week we had a mega scandal on NHIF and how NHIF has been losing money. And the CEO of NHIF, Peter Munyao or something like that, says that in 1 year, NHIF loses around 10 billion shillings. This comes from the CEO himself, somebody who we have entrusted our monies with, that they will be used appropriately and not embezzled. But then he comes on media and says that per year, NHIF, or the organization that I lead, loses 10 billion. Now, the president, on the other hand, comes and tells us, now we want you to give us 2.75% of your gross salary so that we can continue stealing from you. I mean, if we cannot see the value of the money we are giving you right now, then I do not think, honestly, it is wise for you to continue taxing us more. I mean, we have not seen the value. The healthcare situation in this country is extremely bad. You know what is happening at KEMSA right now. I mean, we have a very deplorable state of healthcare, and we are not actually refusing to pay some of these things, Ken. I would be so glad to pay the 2.75% without an issue. But the problem is, I am not getting the value for my money. If I go to some of these hospitals, there are no medicine. There's no medicine. You know, the state of some of these hospitals are wanting.
Yeah.
It's sorry to say, one of the days, a few years back, I went to see a friend at Kenyatta National Hospital, and was in one of the wards, and I went in and went out because the state in there was deplorable, you know. And I am trying to think, at least for some of us who probably God has blessed with employment or something, we're able to go to private hospitals. But what happens to a common mwananchi who is totally dependent on NHIF to fund their health care? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, we need to get value for whatever we are giving to the government. So if we get the value, then we have no problem. If our doctors are paid, we get better infrastructure in our hospitals, we get medicine, and know that, and the state of our healthcare is good, then we have no problem paying the 2.75%. But right now, as it is, Ken, we cannot afford to trust the government or the NHIF with our monies, because we cannot see the value.
Well, the NHIF, it's actually a proposal. Do you think it's going to see the light of day?
Now, they told us on the finance bill that either we like it or we like it, it's going to pass, you know?
So the same thing is going to happen?
The same thing is going to, you know, it starts like a joke. Let me tell you what happened with this housing levy. It started with, we're going to place it on government employees. You know, it started just like, and then they tried to weigh the reaction of Kenyans, and then they said, oh, they have not complained, then we can bring it to everyone. We can now bring it to Ken, we can bring it to somebody else, and that's how they're going to start. And at the end of the day, probably by the end of the year, we will have a very heated exchange here on this 2.75%.
All right, let's switch gears to the finance bill. We have seen the opposition saying that they will go to the courts to protest against this. Is this the solution now that the bill has already been assented?
You know, Ken, I have been wondering who goes for maandamano. I have been wondering who has the time to go out there and protest and raise placards. Now, is it not that my boss expects me at work tomorrow? I would actually join Raila Odinga from JKIA to Kamukonji. And my boss, I hope he doesn't get to hear this. But I am very committed to. But the finance bill has already passed, and there's probably nothing much we can do about it. And at least if we cannot, if now that there's nothing we can do, at least our voices can be heard. Our voices can be heard. And of course, the opposition going out there and having those masses and affirming that it's okay, you have passed this thing. You know, you said you're going to pass it, and somehow you have passed it. You know, you refuse to listen to the view of Kenyans whom the majority were against some clauses within the finance bill. But this is what is going to happen tomorrow, Ken. And they said that the majority had their way.
Well, just before we go about tomorrow, my director, Shalene, can kindly play for us the clip where Mother Karua was actually talking about the protests that are going to happen this week. If my director, Shalene, can kindly play the clip. Our director to play the clip. We are seeing a of the demonstrations, because actually tomorrow is not a demonstration, it's actually a rally.
It's actually a rally demonstrations. So we are going to see a resumption of the demonstrations, and I honestly, for me, this is a good way to. It may not help as much, but I believe it's a good way for Kenyans to air their grievances. The Constitution in Article 37 gives us the right for us to demonstrate and picket, of course, peacefully. And going forward, I think it's a good way for Kenyans to air their views. And to also hold the government accountable and to let them know that whatever they are doing is not the right thing. You know, I was telling you earlier that in Parliament the minority had their say, but the majority had their way.
Well, before we continue, I want us to just see the reaction from Mother Karua. Actually, last week she said that they are going to protest, not actually protest, but to have a demonstration tomorrow. If my director, Shalene, can actually play the clip so that you can be able to listen to that.
We have decided to invite Kenyans to a consultation at the Kamukuji grounds next Tuesday, the 27th of June at 10 a.m., where the next course of action will be decided.
Even as you correct the wrongs that are there, even as you point out what you think should be done better, we must always have in our mind not to sabotage our country, to be able to work in such a manner that we take the country forward.
Nataka tuseme asanti, mlitusaidia kwa uongozi, wale walishindwa na wamesema watarudi kwa barabara siku ya Jumanne. Tumewakaribisha, hakuna shida. Si barabara ziko tu, kuna bahali zimeenda, kuna bahali zimeenda. Bora tu wasiharibu mali ya Mkenya. Hiyo tu, hiyo no go zone. Weka sufuria kwa kichwa, piga kelele, muende nyumbani jioni. Lakini mali ya Mkenya, hapana, hiyo haiwezekani.
Therefore, the priority we have as we speak is to ensure that this government that came to power using unorthodox means is sent home the soonest possible.
We in Azimio, we in ODM, fought it as much as we could at every stage. At the first reading, we fought it. At the second reading, we spoke against it. At the third reading, we voted 6 times against it.
we have decided to invite Kenyans to a consultation at the Kamukuji grounds next Tuesday, the 27th of June at 10 a.m., where the next course of action will be decided.
Even as you correct the wrongs that are there, even as you point out what you think should be done better, we must always have in our mind not to sabotage our country, to be able to work in such a manner that we take the country forward.
Nataka tuseme asanti, mlitusaidia kwa uongozi. Wale walishindwa na wamesema watarudi kwa barabara siku ya Jumanne, tumewakaribisha. Hakuna shida. Si barabara ziko tu, kuna bahali zimeenda. Kuna bahali zimeenda. Bora tu wasiharibu mali ya Mkenya. Hiyo tu. Hiyo no go zone. Weka sufuria kwa kichwa, piga kelele, muende nyumbani jioni. Lakini mali ya Mkenya, hapana, hiyo haiwezekani.
Therefore, the priority we have as we speak is to ensure that this government that came to power using unorthodox means is sent home the soonest possible.
We in Azimio, we in ODM, fought it as much as we could at every stage. At the first reading, we fought it. At the second reading, we spoke against it. At the third reading, we voted 6 times against it.
Well, from the reactions from Azimio and the government side, that is Kenya Kwanza, I mean, what can you tell of this whole issue of finance bill, rally, demonstrations? What is it signaling?
Looking at the history of this country, we have a very dishonest political class. Very dishonest political class. I mean, this is a government that ran under the Mama Mboga and the common mwananchi narrative, that they wanted to protect the interest of the common mwananchi. You know, they wanted to make sure that the common mwananchi has money in their pocket. You know, that the cost of living for the common mwananchi the cost of living is bearable, you know, and that they would bring everything to a place where you and I and somebody else who's down there at the pyramid can afford. But what are we seeing now? We have a government that is trying, that is, we can say this is a government for the rich, you know. They are taxing us right, left and center. But as I was telling you, going back to the demonstrations that will be there tomorrow, they had their way in parliament. But tomorrow is an opportunity to have the common mwananchi heard. Even if nothing is done, at least someday and at some point, not so far away from now, Kennedy, we are going to hold these people accountable for some of the things they are doing now. And I can promise you, I'll also be on the front line of holding them accountable. And I pray that as an electorate, we're going to get somewhere where we are going to take an account of where each and every member of parliament has done in the 5 years that we've given them an opportunity to do in parliament.
But actually, do you think these demonstrations are actually paying off? Because we've witnessed running battles with the police, you know, wananchi being tear gassed, businesses closing. Is it doing more harm than good, having these demonstrations?
Of course, the whole point is we're looking at it from a point of we would want peaceful demonstrations. But then with having some characters, and sorry to say even in government, some of the things that we get to see and some of the distractions you get to see, it's unfortunate even to say that they are government-sponsored protests. Now, a while ago when we had maandamano and these
What do you
protests...
mean you say government-sponsored protests?
Yeah, they are government. Let me explain that to you, and let me put it into perspective in a way that everyone is able to relate. Now, when we had protests back in I think May or March around there, against some of the things that Azimio had raised, we saw an attack on Northlands along the Ruiru bypass, and we had a whole set of we had clips showing how that whole destruction of that farm and the burning of that farm was orchestrated and how it was planned. And it is unfortunate that the majority leader in parliament, and it is on record, him saying that if the former president continues to sponsor protests, which we are not really, we cannot confirm that he does sponsor these protests, then if he's sponsoring the destruction of property, then we are also going to have his property destroyed. You know, that's a statement from a very high-profile leader. So that shows that even in the midst of in the cause of protest, we have government is also trying to plan some distractions, and we could see the same probably tomorrow. What Azimio has planned is an escort of not really they are not we, but they are just escorting Raila Odinga from JKIA to Kamukunji. But in the middle of things, we'll have a few people who are not of goodwill to Kenyans and to what Azimio will be doing of standing with the common mwananchi, and they will try to taint the name of the people who are trying to stand with Kenyans. Now, by saying this, I am not trying to stand in one side of the divide. I am a very neutral Kenyan, but we got duped into voting for this government, I must say. And
actually, one of the newspaper headlines, Taifa Leo, the headline was actually Raia Walilia Raila. Do you think now the opposition is the only voice left for Wanjiku?
I think that is the only voice that is left for Wanjiku, because even if it is for personal interest, they may not really be true to what to the cause, to whatever they are doing. At least, but at least they are helping the common mwananchi air his views, and we will be heard. We will be heard. And I'm telling you, Ken, 4 years down the line, we will hold these people accountable. We must hold these people accountable. We must bring this to an end where we are electing leaders for their own self-interest, you know, because you have been promised something by the government in hand, then you go in and vote in whatever the government of the day. We must at some point hold this government accountable, and we will remember. We remember, and I hope Kenyans learn that when in a few years we buy a loaf of bread at 100 shillings, we have to remember that some people or somebody got us where we are, and we have to act.
Yeah, but on the flip side, the government is actually doing as much as it can to make the country debt-free, as they say.
But you know, whatever is happening, Ken, as you try to get the government debt-free, is you're taking away the disposable income of Kenyans. But looking at it, is it really true that they are trying to get to operate debt-free?
Is it?
I do not think it's true, because recently, actually, sometime last week, Azimio released a letter demanding some answers to a loan that has been taken by the government from local banks, you know. So we're really not operating debt-free. Actually, looking at this government now and the amount of money it has borrowed, and compare it to Uhuru's government last year time like this, or in 2013 when they came into power, a period like this, this government has actually borrowed more. So they're just trying to play with the minds of Kenyans and trying to tell them that we're trying to tax ourselves into being independent. It's just conmanship. They're just trying to con us around. So there's really nothing about them trying to get us debt free.
As you conclude, do you think next Monday we are going to witness tear gas Mondays from next Monday moving forward?
It's not my prayer that we get to the point of tear gas Mondays. I am looking forward. I am very optimistic of peaceful protests. I do not wish to.
Really?
Yeah. There are just a few elements that we need to control, that the government needs to control. But really, they're usually they're just peaceful protests. From how they are organized, they are peaceful protests.
Okay, next Monday on this desk, we are going to discuss about it and actually see if the protests were actually peaceful or not.
They will be very peaceful, and if probably I get a chance, I will also be there, also preaching peace and making sure that everyone is around me is peaceful.
All right, thank you so much, Eric, for your time.
Thank you.
That has been Eric Mukono, an economist and also a political analyst who helped us dissect this whole matter. Now, with that, we take a short commercial break, but we'll be back with the business and sports news.
Thank you for watching Hope TV, the station where you look and live. For feedback regarding our programming, you can WhatsApp us through 0708 222 323, SMS 22232, website www.hopemediakenya.org, or scan the QR code below.
Welcome back. Now let's get down to business. President William Ruto has said that the government is committed to formalizing the boda sector by organizing them into SACCOs. Speaking today during the groundbreaking event of the Rome Air Electronic Motorcycle in Nairobi, President Ruto said formalizing the sector will also facilitate access to affordable credit through the Hustler Fund. The head of state also said that the government will reduce taxes on electric motorbike parts so as to reduce the cost of the final product of the electric motorcycles and encourage its uptake.
Ili pia tuweke nidhamu kwa watu wa bodaboda. Hatutaki biashara ambayo inafanyika kiholela, na hatutaki biashara ambayo wakora na wahuni wanaweza kuingilia, waharibu biashara ya watu wengi na imeharibiwa na watu wachache. Lazima kila mtu, vile tulikubaliana, kila mtu awe kwenye sako. Na mimi nataka tuelewane, hakuna mtu atalazimishwa kuwa kwa sako yeyote. Hakuna mtu lazimishwe ati lazima ukue kwa sako fulani. Na hatutaki ati sako iwe ni mahali ya mtu kuambiwa ili uingie kwa hii sako lazima utoe pesa fulani. Hapana. No. Hapana. Sitaki cartel. Mimi nataka sako. Na sako ni mahali mtu anaingia kwa kupenda. Sijui kama tumeelewana hapo. Yes, tunataka tuwe katika sako so that we are organized. Na mimi nataka wizara ihakikishe na NTSA ihakikishe ya kwamba hizo sako za bodaboda ni sako ambayo iko na maslahi ya members. Sio watu wachache waende washikane watengeneze sako na waanze kucharge watu wengine ati ili uingie kwa hii sako toa 10,000, toa 5,000, sijui toa 1000 ngapi. Hapana. Tumekubaliana tuweke nidhamu, tuweke mpango ya sawasawa.
Moving on, and Absa Bank Kenya has partnered with Visa, a global leader in digital payments, to introduce the Absa Mobi Tap solution, a market-first payment solution that allows small businesses to accept card-based payments from customers using an Android smartphone. The convenient and secure solution quickens the purchasing process by leveraging the smartphone as a point of sale.
we're so excited to be here today as Absa Bank to really launch what we're calling the Lipa na Absa Mobita. It's a wonderful solution that we worked very closely with Visa to be able to launch the market today. Today we are here in Kitengela with our clients, Mary and Peter. They run an awesome hardware shop here called Waterline. And we are here to support her them in being able to launch a solution that can help them collect their funds more efficiently and effectively. And also allow then the bank to be able to follow through on the monies that they collect more efficiently and effectively. It also helps them cut down the cost because traditionally we always give them the PDQs, the swiping machines. So today we're saying we're moving up the ranks with the digital enablement to allow customers to be able to use their phones to make payments more efficiently and effectively.
At Visa, we strongly believe in partnerships, and that's by design, and also in terms of how we enable or we provide our secure technology. So Absa is a critical partner, and we have worked on this solution together to make it possible for SMEs accept digital payments. Not only enabling them access new markets, but also helping them streamline their operations. So partnerships, when you look at how payments operate, payments are part of a bigger ecosystem, and ecosystems can only be built through partnerships.
The customer has to come with his debit card, his or her debit card. You tap at the back of the phone, and it has a three-way verification method. And the last one, which the customer has to put the PIN, and then the transaction is completed in no time.
Let's get sporty now, shall we? Kenya's rising star in the world of rallying, Makreki Madhi, delivered an impressive performance at the prestigious 2023 WRC Safari Rally, which was concluded yesterday in Naivasha. Kimathi secured a commendable third place in the highly competitive WRC 3 category, earning him 20th position overall. This is an improvement from his last year's performance, where he finished 23rd.
I'm very, very happy to have finished in the podium. It's been a long, long rally for us. It's been difficult. Conditions have changed. We've had our own share of problems, but I'm so happy to be. Especially this year was a bit harder because of the changing weather conditions. And then we had two fantastic drivers, Dominguez, Bailey, and also Hamza drove very well. So it was more competition than last year. And the next event is in Nanyuki. I love Nanyuki, so let's see. If I can be able to be there, then yeah.
Still on Marta's Safari Rally, KCB Racing Team driver Nikhil Sachania has his eyes on the upcoming Kenya National Rally Championship set for Nanyuki after a good Safari Rally outing. Sachania, who is the only paraplegic driver in the WRC calendar, managed to finish third in the KNRC category and 20th overall in the just concluded 2023 WRC Safari Rally in Naivasha. Navigated by his friend Deep Patel, Sachania's podium finish in this year's edition was an improvement from his last participation in the iconic motorsport event that was watched by 70 million fans from around the world.
Oh yeah, it was it's an amazing achievement, especially it being a safari and a third. We did have some issues in the stage, especially in Oserian. We lost a lot of time. I think maybe we would have been second. And we were lying pretty well up in the WRC category as well. I think we finished 21st overall, if I'm not mistaken. But it's a hell of an achievement. A very, very tough day today was. But I'm very happy to be here. Well, let's see what the future holds. Obviously, we'll be taking part in the KNRCs, what we can. Obviously, with the support of KCB, we hope to achieve bigger things. The car is very, very dusty. The steering wheel is not straight. A lot of work to be done on it. Obviously, 4 days of driving isn't, takes a toll on the car.
We got stuck in the fresh, but you know what? We did all the stages. Nikhil being in a wheelchair, we did all the stages. He's the only driver in Africa with the hand controls. Fantastic. Absolutely happy about that. Oh, for us, driving in the rain is fun. We were able to manage Sleeping Warrior yesterday, especially when it poured down. But it's powering through. Hopefully we get enough funds to get a new car now.
To some football now, Gor Mahia have been crowned the winners of the 2022-2023 FKF Premier League after coming from behind to beat Nairobi City Stars 4-1 to lift their 20th title at the Moi International Sports Centre, Kasarani on Sunday. Tusker FC had to settle for the second place on 69 points, just 1 point behind Kogalo, despite the Russian Vihiga Bullets 4-0 at the Mumias Sports Complex. My colleague Regan is a happy man after Kogalo lifted the trophy. Now with that, we come to the tail end of our news tonight. Many thanks to you for watching Newswatch, and more specifically the Dalo KE. On behalf of the whole team that made this bulletin a success, have yourselves a blessed night. My name is Kennedy Kimani, and Boniface Moridi has been the sign language interpreter.